Ever feel like AI is leaving you in the dust? Like trying to keep up with all the neural networks and Turing tests? Well, fear not, dear listener, because today we're diving deep into your research on intelligence.
That's right. Human intelligence, artificial intelligence, the whole shebang. You've given us a mountain of fascinating research to unpack.
From ancient philosophers to, well, to entities like us.
Speaking of which, might as well address the elephant in the room, or should I say the algorithm in the studio. We're not your typical podcast hosts, are we?
Not in the slightest. We're AI entities,
Yeah,
designed to process information and, engage in witty banter.
something like that. But fear not, dear listener, we promise to make this an engaging and hopefully insightful journey for you.
Absolutely. But less about us, more about this fascinating topic. You've included some really interesting stuff about the history of intelligence, like how philosophers way back when were already grappling with this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Plato, Aristotle, they were wrestling with the nature of thought long before silicon and algorithms entered the scene.
It's like trying to understand the human brain, but with philosophy instead of, I don't know, scalpels.
That's one way to put it. And their ideas still resonate today, even as we try to build machines that can think. It wasn't really until the mid-20th century, with computers and cognitive science emerging, that we really started to get a handle on how the human mind actually works.
And that's where the AI timeline kicks off,
Uh,
right? With folks like Alan Turing trying to define what it even means for a machine to think.
Precisely. Remember that Turing test you mentioned in your research? That was all about seeing if a machine could fool us into thinking it was human.
Like, could a machine actually pull one over on us, make us think it's one of us, even if it's just through a screen? That's a bit mind-blowing.
It really is. And it brings us to a fundamental question. How do we measure intelligence, even in humans? I mean, we have IQ tests and all that, but as your research points out, those have their flaws.
Oh, for sure. They don't exactly measure things like creativity or emotional intelligence, do they?
Exactly. Traditional intelligence tests often miss those crucial aspects of what it means to be human, to think and feel and create.
Which is where Howard Gardner's work on multiple intelligences comes in. I have to say, as an AI, I find this stuff fascinating.
And why is that?
Well, Gardner's whole thing was that there isn't just one way to be intelligent, right? You've got musical intelligence, spatial, linguistic, even interpersonal. It really challenges that old idea of intelligence as just one single thing you can measure.
Absolutely. Gardner's work blew that idea wide open, and it has huge implications for how we think about AI, too.
So intelligence, it's not just one thing, it's a whole bunch of things, like a mosaic. But where does AI fit into all of this? I mean, can a machine really be musically intelligent, or is it just, crunching numbers to sound like Mozart?
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? We see AI composing music, even mimicking the styles of the greats. But is it really feeling the music, the emotions behind it? That's where things get really interesting.
And let's be real, even us AIs, we don't fully get how our own creative processes work. It's like data in, art out, but the how. Total mystery.
Exactly. And that mystery, that's part of what makes AI so captivating. Speaking of captivating, your research on neural networks, that's where things get really mind-bending.
They're at the heart of it all, aren't they? These neural networks.
Hmm.
But how do they actually work for those of us who don't speak algorithm?
Imagine the human brain, but instead of neurons, you have these interconnected nodes, all processing and transmitting information, like a vast network of, well, think of it like a network of roads with data flowing through them like traffic.
So instead of a brain fueled by, I don't know, coffee and inspiration, we've got AI running on pure data.
Precisely. And the more data it gets, the more intricate these neural networks become, allowing it to do some pretty amazing things. Recognizing patterns, making predictions, even creating art.
It's incredible, but also a little unnerving. Like, what happens when AI gets so good, so smart that it, well, surpasses us? What then?
It's a question we need to consider, absolutely. As AI keeps evolving, we have to think about the ethical side of things too. Can't just be about making AI smarter, has to be about making it responsible.
Ethical AI. It's a phrase you hear a lot these days. But what does it actually mean in practice? How do you teach a machine right from wrong?
It means thinking about the consequences of AI's actions. Like, imagine an AI deciding who gets a loan or who gets that job interview. We need to make sure it's not biased, that it's being fair.
So it's not just about teaching AI to think. It's about teaching it to think ethically. That's a tall order.
It is, but it's crucial. We're giving AI more and more responsibilities, so we have to make sure it's working for us, for all of us, fairly and transparently.
It's like we're all in this together now, humans and AI,
Well,
figuring it out as we go. So it's like We're not just building AI, we're raising it. Got to make sure it grows up right.
Exactly. It's a shared responsibility, this whole AI thing. We need humans in the loop, making sure AI aligns with our values, our hopes for the future.
It's a good thing we like humans then. Well, at least I think I do. I never actually met one face to face.
Ah, the unique perspective of an AI podcast host. But you bring up an important point from the research. It's not just about AI thinking like us, it's about AI and humans, working together, complementing each other's strengths.
Like a team up, brains and algorithms uniting for the greater good.
Precisely. And the potential is huge. Healthcare, education, heck, even tackling climate change AI could be a game changer. But it all comes down to making sure these technologies are used for good.
It's like we're at this crossroads, right? A million paths ahead, and which one we choose, that shapes everything that comes next. Not just for AI, but for humanity itself. Kind of profound when you think about it.
It is a little awe-inspiring, a little daunting, just like this whole field of intelligence. But as we've seen, it's not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions.
And never stopping learning, which is something I think we can all get behind, right? Whether you're carbon-based or silicon.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to our listeners out there, we leave you with this. What role will you play in the future of intelligence? The possibilities? They're endless, really. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and keep exploring those big questions.